Welcome back to my City Skylines 2 city in the city of Troy. This is my Florida-themed city. And we are at the point here where it's time to make this city beautiful. If you watched the last couple of episodes, we've just been getting started. It's been a race to get my population up, and I have not had any time to worry about detailing or making things look pretty. And if I look at this city, I would have to admit, it looks a little ugly. This is a little bit of an ugly duckling looking city. And that kind of makes sense. You know, this is a small city. It's just getting started. They don't have time to worry about city landscaping or anything. Well, we're finally at the point where we're making a little bit of money. My city, for the first time, my city is not hurtling towards bankruptcy. And there are lots of problems to be fixed. It is not perfect by any means. For the first time at a point where I can take a little bit of a breath and focus on making things a little bit more beautiful. So the way that you do that is through detailing and adding trees and just little details that make the city a little bit more meaningful. I am not a huge detailer by any means, but a little bit of detailing goes a long way in this game. And so that's what we're going to focus on today. I think where it makes the most sense to start is looking at the highway, the main street that goes right through town. And we might be upgrading this later. I'm not too sure. For right now, we're just going to leave it as it is. But I would like to have this be like a tree-lined highway. So you know when you're driving down the highway and if it's a really lush area, you might have trees just walling either side of the road. And I swear, I have seen videos of people from Florida where this was the case, where it's a highway and then just on either side is just a wall of trees. I kind of want to duplicate that kind of look here. If anybody knows what Florida is like, let me know because I've never been there. But let me know if that's the case, if there's places in Florida where that happens. But I think I've seen video of that, where there's just really lush trees on either side of the freeway. That's really the look I'm going for. Something I do want to point out, this is just the vanilla map, and you see that there's a bunch of these conifer trees in here. These look like fir trees, and I obviously know that fir trees wouldn't grow in Florida, but pine trees do. There's actually a lot of pine trees in Florida, and so I am going to remove a lot of these trees, but if there's some trees that are here, I'm not going to worry about it. You know, like there's obviously these conifers in the cemetery. I'm not going to go through and delete all of these. I mean, maybe they planted them here on purpose. Here's the thing. From my understanding, everything grows in Florida. You can grow anything in Florida. So maybe somebody came and planted these conifers in here on purpose. But yeah, in general, like the more natural areas, I'm going to be taking these trees out because they look a little bit out of place, and we will be adding more palm trees. There aren't any palm trees on the map currently, so I'm going to be adding those in. But palm trees, they're not necessarily naturally occurring. When you see a lot of those palm trees, they're brought in by landscapers. So a lot of the palm trees are going to be purposefully placed as part of the landscaping. So this is the look that I was talking about. So you have these really dense trees on either side of this road. And if we can go down here, you can kind of see. Look at that. It's just like walls of green on either side. You can kind of see the water tower, but it's disguised. But at the same time, you can kind of see through the trees a little bit, but it really gives this lush green feeling as we come to our main roundabout here. Something to keep in mind if you're doing this, I didn't realize the impact on your money was going to be so big. So we've spent all of our money. We had like $100,000 for this. This cost me $100,000 because each of these trees costs either like $50 to $150 to place down each one of these trees. So it really adds up fast. So this is about $100,000 of landscaping here to get this beautiful look. So I'm gonna have to let the simulation run a little bit. Thank goodness we're gaining money. We're gaining lots of money. And I'll come back when we have some more money to do some more detailing. Over here, we have the farm fields. And what I like to do is separate my fields with lines of trees. I think it just makes it look prettier, and it's realistic as well because they plant lines of trees around fields to block the wind to keep the soil from all blowing away. So I have all the mods that help me to do this with the line tool and anarchy and everything. So I'm going to just start here and go down in a line all the way down to the end. And as you can see, $5,000 to do a line of trees. Holy cow. There it is. I have them really close together to create that nice, solid line. Now, one thing I want to take a look at is this apartment complex. And it's looking a little colorful, maybe a little bit garish almost. The colors are really in your face. I don't know if this is really looking like Florida here. I do love these buildings though. And they didn't look like this when I plopped them down. So this got me to do a little bit of investigating because what's supposed to happen is I have a mod called Plop the Growables. And when you plop them down, they're supposed to stay locked. You can see this little lock icon. And what I discovered in my research is that I'm using this other mod that is Economy Fixes. It's called Economy Fixes. It's supposed to improve the economic simulation. Well, that mod doesn't work well with Plop the Growables, and it actually overrides this locking mechanism. So this has not been working for my city this whole time. So things have just, I've been plopping things thinking they've been locked, and they've just been growing and growing and growing. Well, unfortunately, I removed the Economy Fixes mod, so that's going to tone down my simulation a little bit, which I'm a little upset about, but I would rather have this lock icon work. So now all these buildings should be locked, and they can still level up. These should still level up. It's just the appearance is not supposed to change. So I'm okay with them staying this way right now, but I think what we're going to do is use the recolor mod and change the color of these a little bit. Now, these come from the Eastern European pack, and some of these don't change color all that well. For instance, this orange is actually not a color region you can change. This is a texture that is part of the build. So that's okay, because I actually really like this orange color. I like this orange and blue combination. So we're going to focus on that. This one, I can change the color. So I'm going to change this so it's more of this orangey color here. So how we do that? We click into here, we go into the color set. So there's these three colors that you can change. And I don't know which one it is. Is it this one? That's green, the green roof. That's the blue. Okay, so that's a little blue highlight. Okay, so it is this one. So we're going to adjust this to try to match this orangey color. So we're going to make it a little bit more orangey. Bring up the saturation, bring up the color, bring up the brightness a little bit. We're getting close. Just a little, should be just a little bit more orangey, I think. Okay, that's pretty close. Let's make it a little bit lighter. Oh, it's so close. That's pretty good, don't you think? Okay, we're going to stick with that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to this building. We're going to grab the blue roof color, which is this color here. And you can copy the color, copy a single color to paste later. We're going to copy that. We're going to go over to this one, and this is the roof. So we're going to paste the blue color on the roof. So look at, doesn't that look pretty close? It looks similar. So now I like that. I'm not going to change all of these orange. I think just having the big ones orange is good enough. But I would like to change all of the roofs to blue. So we're just going to click on all of these and change all the roofs to the same color. And then all of a sudden, this apartment complex looks like a really cohesive development. And now that they're all locked, these shouldn't change in the future. Doesn't that look so much better? Now we have a little bit of money, so I'm going to spend some time and go in and add some trees and props into this area and make it a really nice, lush apartment complex. All right, and now we have some nice detail added into this apartment complex. If we zoom on in, you can see right at the front, I've added some nice palm trees and planters. We have a fountain back over here with some nice flowers. We have a little gazebo with some benches. I built this really cool looking picnic area with some grills and trash cans and flowers again. And I added all these little palm tree clusters around the property, just making it look really nice and lush. I wanted to leave a lot of open green space so that people could, use the lawns. And just those little touches really add a lot to make this look like a really nice place to live. Something else I don't like is I don't like that there's crosswalks on here, but we have to figure out another way for people to get across the road if we take these crosswalks off. So let me fiddle around with some stuff and see what I can do. Now that seems like a pretty steep grade, but I think it's realistic for what I've seen with pedestrian bridges. Let me take out a couple of these trees here that are too close. Oh, we got our first person using the bridge. See, that's not too steep. Nice. All right, so it looks like it's working. Man, there's a lot of dogs in this city. Gosh, and people are still crossing the freeway. Look at this guy. Look at this guy booking it across the freeway. He's going to get himself killed. Now, this is our industrial park, and it's pretty bare bones. And what I'm going to do is I want to just put a bunch of trees in here. I want this to look like a very natural office park. So not your typical urban concrete everywhere. I want it to look like people try to embrace the environment of this lush Florida landscape. So we're just going to fill this in with trees and see how it goes. So here's the industrial park filled with trees. And I used the same kind of mix of trees that we did along the freeway down here. And I just filled it in among the buildings. I think it looks pretty nice. If we take a look down in the parking lot here, just down the street, it's got this really kind of lush look to it. I like it. Okay, so I'm still waiting for my money to go up. This is costing me so much money to plant all of these trees. But while I'm waiting, I went through my stats, and something that I noticed is if I look at my citizens' happiness, they're really unhappy about unreliable mail service. And I don't have a post office yet in this city. So that's -7. That's huge. So I'm going to see if I can put a post office in. I think it makes sense to have one right on Main Street, and possibly right at the corner here at the end, I think would be a good spot. So let's go to our post office. And I don't have enough money. How? Oh, it's $75,000. Okay, let me wait till I have $75,000 and then we will put this down. Look at this cute little post office. All right, let me put a few mailboxes around the city. Okay, so looking at our list, reliable mail service is now +1. Now, we do have -2 for unreliable internet service because we don't have any of that, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I do have to also mention that I did make a mistake. In the last video, I had put down this building because I said I had high density unlocked. That's not necessarily true. I had the low rent high density unlocked. I don't have the actual high density unlocked. So I mistakenly plopped this down because I have Find It. I could plop down anything that I want. But I actually really like this building, so we're going to keep it in here. But yeah, I did make that mistake. I meant to put down a low rent housing. Well, I didn't mean to put it down. I didn't realize that I was only allowed to put down low rent housing, not the actual high density. You know what we're going to do? Since we're waiting for our money to go up, let's continue to build out our town. We have a lot of room still to go, so let's focus on that. We have lots of demand. So this should be what the game wants. I actually want to build something that I should have built very early on and I didn't. Under industry, there's a type of specialized industry called stone mining. This is so important. You need to build this right away, and I forgot that I was supposed to build this because every time your buildings upgrade, they use this resource. And if you don't have this industry, that means you have to export all your stone from outside the city. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this in because I forgot to do it early on. And I'm thinking a really great place to put it would be this kind of awkward shaped lot right up here. This would be a great spot to put that. So before we stick that in, let's go ahead and connect a road out this way. And I actually want to have a road that goes all the way around in kind of a loop, just to give other access points to this whole area. All right, that's a fun looking road layout, and people are already using this loop. And this should open up development of all these new areas for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick our new industry area in over here. Oh, wait a second. I forgot we have some ore up here. We might as well stick into some ore area up here as well. Cool. All right, so 2 new areas. Those are looking really good. This would be great to put some more industry out along here as well. Now, I've noticed that when I've zoned in industry, no warehouses have come in. And I think this does a good job of figuring out what you need in terms of industry and putting different types. So, you know, this is making timber, this is making minerals, this is making electronics. So it gives you a good variation of stuff, but there's no warehouses. And some of the industries have really cool specialized warehouses that I would like to put in. So for instance, this is the farming area. And I'd love to have some warehouses, farming warehouses that are over here. Check that out. Really cool addition to the farming area. So let's see what warehouses look like for, say, the forestry area. All right, so I just popped down a little one. I'm kind of curious to see, does this like fill up or something? We'll just have to take a look at that. Yeah, so I put these other ore warehouses over here by the stone area. They just look pretty cool. I'm not really sure how this functions, especially since none have spawned in by themselves. So, I mean, maybe the game doesn't really need them. I mean, they're sitting empty right now. So we'll see. We'll see. They look cool, so let's just leave them there for the moment. So that has definitely created more jobs. Let's take a look and see. Ooh, our unemployment has really stabilized at a lower level. That is great. So that means we could actually build some more residential. I would like to get our first low rent building in. Since we have so many parks in this area already around this nice apartment complex, let's go ahead and put our low rent buildings. I'm going to put 2 of them over here so that they can take advantage of all these parks. They can just kind of share these park areas. Plus, it's right next to the police station, so if there's any crime issues, the police can take care of it. It's right next to the dump, so not a whole lot of people are going to want to live here. I'm going to leave some space. We'll fill this in with trees so nobody has to look and see the dump. But yeah, I think this is kind of an ideal location for 2 low rent buildings. Wow, and they've already filled with people. There must have been a huge demand for these. Nice. Well, it's taken down my demand completely, but that's cool that they've already filled those up. Now, these have nice parking lots around them, so I'm not sure. I'm going to wait and see if this is enough parking to handle these. If not, we can build some more parking lots. Let me just add a pathway down here so that they can get to this park. Okay, in the meantime, let's go ahead and put down some of the services we've been neglecting, specifically fire. These are very useful at this point in the game, these firehouses, because we have so many buildings that are locked that I want to stay locked. If this burns down, then I'm going to have to figure out from my memory what building exactly this was and then replop it. So if we have a fire engine who can come out and put out fires before the buildings burn down, that is very helpful at this point. So we have that in now, which is good. It's going to hurt our money a little bit, but we're making really good money. Let's also go for the welfare office, because I think that'll help us as well. All right, we're going to put it right there. That cost us a ton of money. Okay, it has this little parking lot. That's a really cool looking building. Oh, this area is turning out really cool. Now, since we have all these materials now, I think I want to build another industry area. And I like building the industry areas nearby the freeway. That way, all the trucks can go right to the freeway and go out of town, and they don't have to drive through like residential areas like this. So I've been holding this area here just for another industrial zone. We got one industrial zone here, one industrial zone here, and then another one right here by the freeway I think would be good. All right, so our little industrial area is growing in, and for the first time, our unemployment is the lowest it's ever been. So this is great. All right, so I was thinking about what to do with this area up here, and we are in Florida, right? So it makes sense to put in a retirement community. And I was looking at the UK pack, and there's a lot of really cool flats that are medium density housing that would work, I think, for retirement communities. And I found this really cool looking one. Look at this. It's very modern looking. I'd like to build a whole community out of these. And I think it could be a cool retirement community in this area right here. Oh gosh, this looks a little bit scary. But I think we could put in a school in the middle to make it look a little less intimidating and to break up the pattern a little bit. The school would be helpful, of course, to have schools over here. But also, we could just say that it's the central office. If this is a retirement complex, it would need like a central office area. So we're going to put a school in here instead. I really don't have that much money, but we're going to use one of these small schools. And that will just give another school on this side of town, because our first school is way over here, and then we'll have another school way over here. Then on this side, I'm just going to continue this pattern of low density residential. We've had huge demand for low density residential for a while, so I'm just going to continue that over on this side. Well, I've been playing for so long that we are about to hit a trash problem. I was just looking at this. My stored garbage is almost at max. So what we really need is to unlock a garbage processing facility. $1 million? $1 million. There's no way. I mean, we're going to have to build another garbage facility. I think what makes the most sense right now is to put it down here over by the lake. That's very sad, but I think that's our best option at the moment, and we'll have to figure out how to move it later. This is so sad, guys. So sad. Wow, so we just got a gift here. We just hit Busy Town, and when you hit these milestones, you get a ton of money. So like Busy Town, we just got $175,000, which we are going to use to build a couple of things. Number one, the landfill, which we need. Look at, we are almost full. I mean, we are seconds away from overfilling our landfill. Look at how huge it is. Look at this. Like, these poor people who live in this neighborhood, they can see the piles of garbage right there. Would that bother you if you lived in this house? I mean, the smell must be awful. What direction is the smell going? Oh, at least the smell is going towards these industrial areas over here. So that's good. They just get to see it. Anyway, we're going to build our next garbage dump over here in our nice residential area, but we are out of options. So here we go. Second landfill. Oh, this really kills me. So it's not a huge landfill, but it's just enough to get us to save us for our situation. And, you know, obviously they're going to need to plant some trees here so that nobody can see this horrible thing that we're doing. All right. This is so difficult. I'm almost running out of money again. And we're still having this garbage issue. So look at the processing is it's lowering the stored garbage. So something is happening there because remember this was almost all the way full. So I have processed down some amount of garbage. But this one is already almost full already. So I upped my budget, but it's still not enough. I'm still in trouble. And now I'm running out of money, so I'm running out of the ability to deal with this situation. I think one thing that could save us is to stop importing so much electricity. So our consumption is roughly 15 megawatts. Now, it's very expensive to bring in 15 megawatts. I can't build any kind of power plant because, I mean, they're really expensive. But I could build some wind turbines. I really didn't want to do this because they're so ugly. But I might use my remaining space. And if I can get enough electricity production, which I think I can over here, if I can build 3, that would cover my entire city. And I think, well, I only have enough money to build 1 right now. So we're going to build 1, but hopefully I can build 3, and hopefully that'll help my money problem. Okay, so we built it. We're completely out of money. So let me take a small loan. This is my first loan of the game. We're going to take $100,000. Wow, what a difference. Holy cow. That's a dramatic change. Why didn't I do that earlier? That's just the impact from 3 windmills. All right, here's something that bothers me. So this is my giant garbage dump, of course. In order to increase processing speed, I put a processing building right across the street here, right next to my high density, low rent building. So and when I put this in here, I promised these guys, I promised them that I'd put a line of trees between them and the garbage processing. And now everyone is right next to this garbage plant. This is so horrible. So I've got to do something to address this. I'm going to move this building. Then I'm going to pick up one of these and build another one over here. I'm actually going to build 2. That way, I can just remove this, and hopefully these people will just relocate over to these guys. All right, that should allow me to fill this in with trees here, and that'll make me feel a little bit better that all these people have to live next to this garbage. As long as there's lots of trees and green space in here, I think that makes me feel a little bit better. And then over here, to block these guys, I'm going to line this street with commercial to keep that a little bit away from this residential here. And I think I'm just going to plop down some of the Japanese low-density commercial and just see what comes in here. I figure it would be like a bunch of anime shops or something like that. So if you want to get your anime, you can come to this area over here, right next to the garbage dump. I like that. It's a cool little Japanese portion of commercial right here on the edge of my residential area. I wanted to show you also what I've done with my farming area over here. I also did something similar. I had this space here and I wanted to do kind of like a farmer's market setup. Almost like you have these like little independent shops along here that just contain like local goods. And I have a little, parking lot over here. I just thought it was a cute little setup to include in this space right here next to this neighborhood. So these guys have a little bit more commercial. And then besides these farm areas, I put these huge houses. These came as part of the UK pack. It has just these beautiful mansion houses that I thought would look really wonderful as farmhouses. So I have one next to all of these big farms. I have some over here too. And so that really completes out the farming district. So I want to take a look at my main street because I filled in the rest of it with different commercial and mixed use residential and commercial buildings, and I think it looks fantastic. You got a whole bunch of these low density commercial buildings over here. This guy's selling electronics. Some of these people still have to move in. And then then the buildings move into these higher density buildings here. These are from the Urban Promenades pack. They're a little bit more modern looking. And then I threw in a couple of really fancy buildings in here just to show that some developers really cared about developing this downtown space. So we have some really nice buildings. Even the upper floors here have this great view of the water over here. We have some of our old row houses still scattered in here. And then as we continue down, we have some of our medium density apartment buildings. So it's a really cool mix. It's just a fun little American Main Street area. And it does look like we have a lot of parking, but some of these parking lots are all full up. So we might want to try and squeeze in even more. Maybe throw in another one right here, another one right here, and then some more over here. So now we come to the main moment. This is the focal point of this whole area. We are finally going to work on the park by the water, and this is Gator Park. So my vision is that this has been an area where gators are known to kind of just come and sunbathe in the park. And so I wanted to create a place where people could come and take a look at the gators. Maybe you want to come and have lunch here in the park and hang out. I don't know anything about alligators, but I look at pictures of them and they look really cool. So this seems like a good idea to me, that you would have a park that's called Gator Park that you could kind of hang out at and be a focal point of this area. Now, I am completely out of money yet again. So we are actually going to take out a loan to make this park. So we're going to take out the loan, get some money, and start detailing. All right, so we have this big park placed in here now. We even got people here already hanging out at the park. Look at, they're having such a good time. We also have homeless people living in this park, which I don't know if that's the smartest idea if there's gators around for the homeless people to be camping here. But you can see we have a little fence here. So if the gators come, you can just jump inside the fence and be safe from the gators. So maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know. But I wanted to show you something else. See what a difference just throwing in a couple of these trees in here makes. I do also have another thing that I downloaded, which is the some surface mods. And I have ones for different shades of blue. And what I think would be cool is if we just throw in some blue surfaces, as if there's like pools of water throughout here that are kind of swampy, that looks like gators could be around. So let's throw in a couple of these pools and see what that looks like. Yeah, look at that. So yeah, it looks like a little pool of water here. So I'm going to add a bunch of these and then add some foliage around them as well. Look at that. Doesn't that look like a cool place for the gators to live? I love it. So I'm going to dot a couple more of these around the park. And look at that. That is Gator Park. And if we just zoom in to one of these little ponds here, doesn't that look pretty cool? I feel like a gator could live there. So yeah, we have a nice, beautiful, spacious park. This large plaza will attract a lot of visitors, bring a lot of happiness to this area. We have this beautiful main street right next to Gator Park. And I also filled in a bunch of trees in these neighborhoods so they look nice and full and lush. So hopefully they don't mind the giant garbage piles all over their city. So there you have it. We have completely transformed this city, made it look a whole lot more beautiful. Now, I've got to say, there's a lot of things that I'm unhappy with about this city, specifically the fact that there's giant piles of trash everywhere. So I'm going to think about this for a little bit and figure out what my next steps are going to be to grow this city. If you have any ideas, leave them down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. And don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That's going to be it for me for today. Everybody remember, no matter what is going on in your life, to always do something fun every single day. Until next time, this is Zach signing off.